So when I say ransomware, what comes to mind? Probably some nasty piece of code, right? A digital weapon. But honestly, that's kind of like looking at a giant fast food empire and just seeing a hamburger. The reality is so much bigger, so much more organized, and frankly, a lot more like a legitimate corporation than you'd ever guess. All right, let's just start with a number that, well, it pretty much says it all. $20 billion. That was the estimated haul from ransomware way back in 2020. Look, this isn't a bunch of kids in a basement. This is the kind of money a massive, global, and very successful criminal industry pulls in. And it's all built on a business model that's going to sound weirdly familiar. And that's where this thing called Ransomware-as-a-Service, or RaaS for short, comes in. The best way to think about it is it's the evil twin of the software-as-a-service model you probably use every day. You know, like subscribing to Salesforce or Microsoft 365. Well, criminals can now subscribe to get their own ready-to-go ransomware. The scary part? You don't even have to be a tech genius anymore. You just pay your subscription and you get access to top-tier attack tools. So you're probably wondering, how on earth does a criminal enterprise like this actually work? Let's pull back the curtain and take a look inside, because you'll see it's got all the pieces of a real company. Developers, customers, a product, the whole 9 yards. Okay, so inside this criminal business, you've got two main roles. First up, you have the operators. These are your developers, right? The brains of the operation. They're the ones building the nasty software, setting up the payment systems, and yeah, they even have customer support. And then you have the affiliates. These guys are the customers. They're the boots on the ground. They don't build the tools, they just lease them and go find someone to attack. It's this split, this specialization that lets them scale up their attacks like crazy. And of course, it's all about the money. So how does it actually flow? It's pretty clever, actually. Now, some might charge a monthly subscription, kind of like Netflix. But the big one, the model that dominates this whole space, is profit sharing. Here's how it works. The affiliate does the dirty work, gets the victim to pay up, and then the operator, the developer, gets a nice slice of the pie, usually somewhere around 20, maybe even up to 40%. It gives them a huge incentive to make their product as deadly as possible. So what exactly are these affiliates buying? What's in the box? Well, it's not just a piece of code. It's a whole business in a box. We're talking the actual ransomware, a slick dashboard to manage their attacks, 24/7 tech support if they run into trouble. They even get the secure payment portals and the websites where they threaten to leak your stolen data. It's the whole shebang. Okay, so we've got the business model down. Now let's talk about how they actually get you to pay. Because as the business has gotten more professional, the extortion tactics have gotten, well, way, way nastier. This isn't just about locking your files anymore. And you know, it's pretty wild to look at how we got here. Believe it or not, the first ransomware attack was back in 1989. It was spread on floppy disks, and you had to mail $189 to a P.O. box. Can you imagine? But the real game changer was Bitcoin, around 2013. Suddenly, payments could be anonymous and almost impossible to trace. That's when the profits exploded. Then, just a couple years later, RaaS comes along, and suddenly anyone could be a cybercriminal. And that, my friends, leads us right to today, the era of multi-extortion. So this is what that multi-extortion playbook looks like today. It's a brutal step-by-step process to squeeze victims. Step 1 is the classic move, encryption. Boom, your files are locked. But criminals are smart. They knew people were getting better with backups, so they added layer 2, double extortion. Before they lock your files, they steal them. Now the threat isn't just you can't have your files back, it's we're gonna leak all your secrets to the world. And if that's not enough, they go for the kill with triple extortion. They start attacking your customers, your business partners, hitting you with other attacks, all to just absolutely wreck your reputation and force your hand. It's ruthless. So, with a business this slick and tactics this brutal, who's on the receiving end? Who are the victims? Let's take a look at the real-world impact. Honestly, the growth here is just staggering. Just look at this. From 2022 to 2023, the number of victims we saw publicly shamed on these leak sites, it shot up by 74%. 74! This isn't some minor issue, it's a full-blown crisis, and it is accelerating. And look, while everyone is a potential target, these gangs definitely have their favorites. You see manufacturing, professional services, and especially healthcare at the top of that list again and again. And you have to ask, why them? It's simple, really. They have zero tolerance for downtime. Think about it. A factory that can't make things is losing millions. A hospital that can't get to patient files, lives are on the line. That creates incredible pressure to just pay the ransom and make it go away. And I really want to stress, this is not an abstract problem. This is happening right now to real organizations. This table here, This is just a tiny snapshot from 1 month. You've got a manufacturer, a healthcare provider, a school district, even an automotive museum. Nobody is safe. Big or small, public or private, they are coming for everyone. Okay, so after all that, you're probably feeling a little overwhelmed. I get it. We're up against this organized professional criminal industry. How in the world do you fight back? Well, the key is to completely change how you think about the problem. You have to stop thinking about fighting a piece of malware and start thinking about fighting a business. Your goal isn't just to block a virus, it's to wreck their business model. And that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? If their whole operation is built on making a profit from attacking you, then how do you flip the script? How do you make attacking your organization a money-losing proposition for them? And here it is. This is the core idea. You have to destroy their return on investment, their ROI. Think about it. For them, time is money. Every hour they spend trying to hack into your network, trying to find your data without getting caught, that's an expense. Your job is to make that expense so high that it's not worth it. You need to make an attack against you slow, noisy, and just an absolute pain. So much so that they pack up their tools and go looking for an easier target. Because there's always an easier target. All right, so how do we actually do that? Here are 5 practical, high-impact things you can do to start wrecking their ROI right now. First, multi-factor authentication. Put it everywhere. Seriously, it's one of the single biggest roadblocks you can put in their way. Second, use a tool like Laps to randomize your local admin passwords. This makes it incredibly hard for them to move around your network once they're in. Third, backups. But not just any backups. They need to be offline, they need to be immutable, meaning they can't be changed or deleted, and you have to test them. That's the key. Fourth, get a modern endpoint detection and response tool, or EDR. This is like a high-tech security camera for your computers that can spot an attacker's behavior. And finally, number 5, patch your systems. Specifically, go look at CSIS catalog of known exploited vulnerabilities. These are the holes the bad guys are actively using, so patch them first. So if you remember one thing from all of this, let it be this. RaaS is a business. And you fight it by making yourself bad for their business. Make every attack against you slow, noisy, and unprofitable, and you will win. And so I'll leave you with this question to think about for your own organization. It's not just about, can we stop an attack? The real question is, are we prepared to make an attack against us so unprofitable that they won't even bother trying?